a demolition point of view,
Yeah.
I think the big news Conexpo is the agreement that you have reached with Company Wrench to supply Kocurek high-reach rigs to North American market.
Yeah, I hope so. Certainly from our point of view, it's big news. I'm very excited. And I think we've been working on it for a number of months. It's not been easy. There's been a lot of work gone into it with both companies, but I think going forward, it's extremely exciting.
So how is it going to work?
How it's going to work is Kocurek going to supply front end equipment.
Yep.
And with machines with joints, we'll supply the joint as well.
Right. Your modular joint.
Our modular joint, yeah, correct. And Company Wrench will modify the base machine. They'll put their tilting cab on, additional counterweight, sips, belly plates, things like that.
Right.
So going forward, we'll be supplying the front end equipment. Again, the idea for that is we don't need the machine, so everything can be shipped over in containers, which reduces the shipping time and the availability of sailings as well. So everything's been discussed and thought about here to make it smooth.
When did discussions start about this?
Probably back in around about October, November time, I think. So Company Wrench have had our equipment before.
Yep.
We've sold some equipment to another company in the US some time ago, and then Company Wrench have bought this from them, used our equipment, have been very happy with our equipment, and they then spoke to us direct about supplying more because the demand they have, because they also have a rental fleet,
right.
But they're looking at supplying all across the US and Canada. We got in discussions about what sort of equipment they want. We got in discussions about how many they're going to want, and really we're both excited about how big this could get. Yeah.
Okay. One of the questions I would imagine that an American contractor would have is you've got a UK designed built boom on a machine. How is the servicing side of it going to be maintained, service and support? Is that going to be done through Company Wrench? Yeah,
I mean, Company Wrench will be our, effectively they'll be selling the machine with the equipment, and they will take on the service side and the after sales side of things. What we will be doing with Company Wrench is carrying out training annually for their service fitters, their mechanics, and their design team as well, so they fully understand the product. They'll also be taking a spares, if you like, stock amount of spares which they'll hold on their shelf, and we'll look at basic spares, what's required, and the obvious things are things like seal kits and things like that. But they'll take spares, and so they can fully support it.
Okay, because I mean, obviously the one thing a contractor does not want is a machine down.
No.
And waiting months for somebody to come out from the
Exactly, and we're fully aware of that, and that's why, really, for us to do this, we need sort of like a partner here in the States, and that's why we're looking at Company Wrench.
When it comes to branding, how's that going to work?
It will be branded Company Wrench Kocurek.
Right.
So everybody will be made aware that it's a Kocurek arm on a Company Wrench modified machine.
Okay, so would the arm carry the name Kocurek on it?
Yes.
Right. In big letters?
Probably not in big letters, but it will have our standard Kocurek plates that people are aware of.
Right.
And Company Wrench have been very forthcoming on that and said they want to actually use it with Kocurek, and because obviously we have a good name within the industry, and I think they want to. They don't want to change that fact, and they want to actually use the name Kocurek. So we're very happy with that.
Okay. I mean, have you an idea of numbers in terms of machines, and also what kind of size are you looking to go from to? Okay,
the standard stock machines, if you like, that we'll be looking to do. We'll start at sort of, say, 45, 50 ton machines, coming down to, say, 20 to 20 ton machines.
Right.
We'll be looking at 3-piece demolition. We'll be looking at 2-piece demolition. Anything bigger than that, 65, 80 ton, 100 ton machines, that's going to be done to order. Right. They're too big an investment for stock, really, and so they'll be done to order. As far as numbers goes, we're now, as of this week, effectively, we're now producing 7 front-end equipments for them. So
for delivery this year?
Yeah, for delivery, hopefully, sort of like sometime in the summer.
Right,
and that will be the first batch that come out here. And then obviously there'll be a lot of work involved between now and then to make sure that everything they need on the machine is there.
Yeah.
Because we don't want it to arrive and then, we want this, we want that, so we want to get it right now. So there's going to be a lot of work done prior to build and during build. And then we will have Kocurek people over here to actually go through them with the installation of the equipment, how everything works, as well as the training we're going to have at Kocurek. So Company Wrench are going to come to the UK, we're going to come to Company Wrench, and it's a partnership, and we're going to work together on this.
It sounds like a very close partnership, because you must be exchanging information that you might not exchange to other people.
Yeah, and that's the only way it can work. That's
Right.
the only way it can work. And obviously there's a lot of research been done, a lot of time been put into this by both companies. This is what we both want, and the only way it can work, it's got to be a kind of an open book policy. We've got to be able to exchange information so that they're going to have information on certain machines, and we need to know what they're doing to the base machine for us to know whether or not our arm will work, and vice versa.
Right.
So there's got to be an open book policy there. Yeah.
We talked previously about the Kiesel multi-tool concept. Are you looking to maybe develop something similar for North America? Or is it early days?
In an ideal world, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But I think the Kiesel multi-carrier is probably, it's too far ahead at the moment.
Right.
Because we're trying, I think it's a case of making sure we walk before we run with the US, and obviously I think once the demolition product is established and we can get the Kocurek product and we can see how, the success of the Kocurek product, then we can start talking about having multi-arms on the same machine and things like that. And bearing in mind, we could still do that with the modular joint, albeit it's not as quick a turnaround, but you still could have a super long front with the demolition equipment on there, a little bit longer on changeover time. But I think something like the multi-carrier could come in, but I think we're probably a couple of 3 years away from it at the moment.
Right. Is that because the market isn't quite there yet for it, or because you just want to get established first?
Probably a little bit of both, Lindsay, to be honest with you. The market's there. I believe the demolition market in the US is growing, but with the Kocurek product is kind of relatively new to there's not much Kocurek product in the US, and I think that we need to establish our name first. This is a partnership, and we need to get customers reliability, and they're happy with the fact, and returning customers.
Right.
And once we start seeing the good name being spread around and this partnership is working, then I think we can start looking at the bigger options, the multi options. I mean, we are talking about the ABC concept that we've dealt with as well.
Yeah.
So we are already looking at a multi-use machine,
Right.
but not to the level of the KMC. But also the KMC is there's a lot more involved. There's a lot more cost implications on that, and I think it's probably the wrong thing to hit the US market with as the first time around from the Kocurek. We need to kind of establish ourselves here first.
Do you think do you expect much demand for the 67 metre top end telescopic? Or is that something you will maybe see develop over time? Because there aren't many of them around.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't.
You'd like more, I'm sure, but yeah.
Yes, I mean, they're always... the 67 metre is always the high profile job. It's the big job. It's the big machine, biggest base machine we work on. It's the biggest arm we do, and it's a fantastic machine. It's a proven machine. We've got several working now and working well. At this stage, I don't see a huge demand for that at the moment.
Right.
And again, bearing in mind the environment where most of the 67 metres, 64 metres, the two type of machine, if you like, and they're only the only differentiation between the 64 and the 67 is the intermediate dipper. So I think with the market we have in the UK and in certain parts of Europe, that demand is there. in the US, there's a lot more open space. So for the bigger buildings, there's a lot more opportunity for blast downs and things like that. And so the requirement for that, I think, is at this moment is not quite there.
You normally modify the carriers in Ipswich.
Yeah.
Company Wrench are going to be modifying the carriers here.
Yes.
I'm guessing that you have certain carriers that you prefer. Will that have an implication with what Company Wrench are doing, or is it just you supply the front end and the engineering for the modifications? You're going to be modifying the carriers here.
Yes.
I'm guessing that you have certain carriers that you prefer. Will that have an implication with what Company Wrench are doing, or is it just you supply the front end and the engineering for the modifications?
There will be that will have implications, yes, because if it's got a joint, for example, we're supplying the joint and we're going to be building a joint from scratch.
Yeah.
Whereas we would normally modify an existing mono boom, we're not going to be having the boom shipped over from the States because of cost implications and time. So we're going to be making it from scratch. So that will have an implication because, again, each carrier is different. They have different size hoist cylinders on machines and how much we get to know a machine. Not on, oh, we don't like that machine. It's a case of we kind of know a machine because of how many we do. And we've got to take on board that we're supplying equipment to Company Wrench that could go on any base machine. If a customer wants our equipment and they have a type of machine that we've never dealt with before, then we still need to find the information and actually do that. So it will have a difference. And obviously, if they're using a machine that we've got current design product, for that machine, and we understand it, we know it inside out, that improves the time scale because there's less design work and less time spent there. So that's the only difference. But it won't affect. We won't say no. We won't put it on this machine. We won't put it on that machine. We will still be the same as Kocurek has always been. If it can go on the machine, we'll do it.
Because in the US, obviously, we've got John Deere excavators, which you don't have in Europe.
No.
Some customer might want the John Deere carrier.
Yeah.
So we've got to be able to deal with it.
Yeah, and there's going to be times where we're going to have to, we need to understand certain things about a base machine to modify it. And we need to know, as I say, we touched earlier there about the kinematics. We need to know about, the counterweight positions, the centre of gravities, and all this sort of thing. So all of that's got to come into play. Now, it may be that there's a certain base machine that we've never dealt with before. We can't, like you say, John Deere, we can't get a base machine in the UK. So we need to think about, we may have to come over here and actually do a full measure and a full scan and to actually get the information we need to be able to do it. But again, that only builds our portfolio up worldwide, not just in the US.
Well,
so
if you can do it in the Hitachi Cat,
exactly,
you can do it on John Deere with the right amount of
exactly. It's just understanding that machine and knowing the differences and that's it.
That's good.
Thank you, Lindsay.